another. Now, from Benue to Lagos, and then to London, where he's plied his trade with great felicity of style. He's standard for a full decade already. Many think that he is that East African kid. Others think he is a Ghanaian because of how well he related with the late Komla Dumo. But the fact remains that he's a twin and is a full-blown Nigerian. The BBC's Peter Okwoche is my guest this morning. Good morning.
Charlie.
How are you doing?
Thanks for having me, Johnny.
Great. How are you doing? How's Ghana treating you?
I love coming to Ghana every single time. I haven't been here for a while now, almost 2.5, 3 years now. Right. But, I love coming here. Just getting into Kotoka Airport, I'm home.
Which is it, Ghanaian jollof or Nigerian jollof?
You want to start that this morning? It's too early to be eating lunch.
We'll talk about the BBC African Footballer of the Year. But
sure.
Tell me, how did you get to the BBC?
I just applied. I'd been working as a journalist in Nigeria for 12 years, and I just applied for a job, and I got it. And I've been there for close to 14 years now.
I see. Tell us about your first day at the BBC. How was it like?
It's still unbelievable for me. Walking in there every morning, and seeing that logo, and I keep on asking myself, are you sure this is true? Because it's such a great organization. I think we produce really, really good material, and we cover the whole world, and it's just great to be part of that storytelling process every day. I love telling stories, and I love hearing people's stories as well.
I see. Was that what you had in mind growing up as a kid? Your parents are educationists and administrators and all of that.
Yeah, I think my parents wanted me to be a lawyer.
Okay.
I ended up studying theatre arts and mass communications.
Okay.
And then when I left university, I started teaching for about 2 years, and one of my father's friends came into the house and said, heard me talking to my father and said, have you ever tried for radio? Okay. So I said no. So he asked me to come and audition at the radio station, local radio station. I auditioned, didn't hear from them for 6 months, then auditioned again. Okay. Then got the job, and haven't looked back ever since.
I see. What's that single thing you've learned from the BBC that you want to go back to Nigeria and impact other lives with?
I think integrity in our storytelling. We should be impartial in the way we tell our stories. We should be, it's not about us. It's about the subject, not about us. So, just having that integrity to tell a story without being partial.
I see. You're so good at the news and presenting, same, writing, same, and all that.
Thank you.
What don't we know about you, something that you're good at that we all don't know about? Maybe cooking?
I wouldn't say. I think my wife would doubt that very much that I'm good at cooking. But a lot of people don't know that I played in a musical band for a very long time. Okay. I played in 3 bands actually. A rock band and 2 bands where we played anything. So I played the bass, I played the drums, and I used to rap.
I see.
Not anymore, so don't ask me to.
I'm not going to ask you to. I wrote you play the bass guitar. Do you miss those days?
I do very much so. It's just, I don't have the time. I haven't held a bass guitar now for more than a decade, and it pains me. Okay.
Reggae, rap, rock, and R&B. Why those anyway? Why did you choose to stay with the R's? And not jazz, for example?
No, I like jazz. I like jazz. It's just, I like all genres of music, really. It's just the ones that I have access to. Okay. That I listen to most of the time.
Interesting. Your fashion sense on television is amazing. Where do you get that from? Your parents?
I don't know. I just put things together. I don't even think about it, to be honest.
I see.
No, I don't.
Really?
I don't. I just put stuff together. I'm colorblind, so I have certain...
Are you?
Yes, I am.
Are you colorblind?
Yes, I am. So I have certain things that have been arranged for me that they go together, so don't mix them up. So I don't think about it. I just...
Interesting. That. Let's talk about the BBC African Footballer of the Year. It's a great initiative by the BBC. Who are the nominees for this year?
So it's 5 nominees, of course. Victor Moses from Chelsea and Nigeria. You've got Mo Salah from Egypt and Liverpool. Sadio Mane from Liverpool and Senegal. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang from Borussia Dortmund and Gabon, of course. And then we've got Naby Keita, who plays for Senegal, as well as RP Leipzig in in Germany.
I
Yes,
see.
that's right.
So how do we select them?
Well, voting has ended now.
It has?
Yes, unfortunately, voting has ended, so it's too late for anybody who hasn't voted yet.
Okay.
But it's such a great initiative. I mean, don't forget, this is the only award of its kind that is voted for by the fans.
Okay.
You know, so we opened voting 2 weeks ago, for 2 weeks. And then voting ended last week, and the winner will be chosen. Well, the winner will be revealed.
Okay.
So the fans have already chosen for the winner. I think they're collating the results somewhere in London now. And the winner will be released on Focus on Africa, which is the program that I present,
Right.
on BBC World News at 17:30 Ghana time. So, yeah, look forward to it. I mean, the really exciting thing about it this year is that whoever wins it will be a first-time winner.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, so all these people there are not first-time nominees, but none of them has won it before.
Right.
And I think, you know, Ghanaians should watch out for it. I hope that they get somebody in there next year. You've won it 4 times.
Yeah.
You know, 92, Abedi Pele.
We were hoping to win it again.
Well, you know, you've won it 4 times. I think that's more than, if I'm not mistaken, that's more than any other country.
Okay.
Maybe not. But, you know, Abedi Pele 92, Michael Essien 2006.
Okay.
Then Asamoah Gyan 2010, and Andrea Ayew 2011.
Interesting. So 11th December.
11th of December at 17:30 GMT
Okay,
on BBC
5
World
names.
News.
You missed your chance to elect one of these players, but may the best one among them win. Take a look at this shortly. We'll return to continue the conversation with Mr. Okwoche.
Corruption Campaign Group has
any human being in the world would have encountered, corruption in a way, one way or the other, either being offered a bribe or a bribe being demanded from you. What you need to do is to put yourself in a position.
Mr. President, did you take it?
No, I haven't taken a bribe.
Well, as you can imagine, the story has taken social media by storm, with Ghanaians taking to Twitter to air their opinions. Here are some of them. Hopewell Kwabena tweets, "So these pundits are here blubbering about the gift President Mahama received. Who wouldn't accept a Ford Explorer? Hashtag brand new." George Mantis says, "It was a gift and not a bribe. Leave Mahama alone."
Interesting there. So, Peter, are you here as a Nigerian or are you here as a broadcaster?
I'm here as both Nigerian broadcaster who's coming to do some work, talk to you, obviously. You know, I can't believe you brought out that
but you've been concerned about journalists accepting brown envelopes, and you think that it affects the integrity of the profession. Have you accepted a brown envelope before?
Absolutely not.
Not at
I
all.
would never do that. You know, I would never do that. You know, and I stand, upright and say I'd never do that. It's a big deal in our part of the world. You know, a lot of media houses don't pay their staff, so their staff end up receiving these brown envelopes. But once you receive a brown envelope, your story has been tainted. You know, the news that you're gathering has been tainted. You really can't, you don't have any integrity. And people say, well, what do I do if I haven't been paid a salary? I'm like, you're not receiving that brown envelope because you have not been paid a salary. You're receiving that brown envelope because you lack integrity.
Have you been presented with a brown envelope before?
Oh, so many times. It happens all the time. I mean, well, not now. Now that everybody knows I work with the BBC, they won't try it, but yeah, you just don't take it. I wasn't brought up to take.
Even when you didn't have money in your pocket at the time?
No, I mean, I've never been in this job for money.
Right.
Never, ever, no.
So for that young journalist who is out there, and there's been a question about even the structure of rising to the top. If you join the army, for example, in 4 years you're sure to progress to your next rank.
Absolutely.
With good attitude and everything else. But if you join as a journalist, what do you aspire to become?
You aspire to tell stories. you know, I mean, we have to tell our stories. Maybe I see things a bit differently now because I work for an international organization, and I know how much Africa's story needs to be told, and I know that now that it needs to be told by us. For a long time, we've allowed other people to write our history, and that's why our history is so skewed. Once we start telling our history, you know the classic African proverb that, you know, if a hunter and a lion write a story about the same hunt, there'll be two different stories. You know, the hunter will have he won, but the lion will say he won. So we have to tell our story in such a, I mean, and I don't say paper over the cracks, don't make Africa look good, you know, but the good and the bad should be told.
I just read a message from Mr. Joseph Warungo. You want to share a word or two about him?
He's my boss. He recruited me into the BBC. You know, so
interesting.
Yes. So I am very, very, you know, I don't want to use the word indebted because he said I should never say that. But you know, I'm very grateful to him. I'm very grateful for the fact that he spotted what he termed my talent and brought me to the BBC. He's a great guy. Brilliant
He's watching you closely as your former boss.
Yes, my former boss indeed. Yes, yes.
Beyond being on the screen, what do you do to relax?
I love football. I'm an Arsenal fan.
Oh, you have patience, a lot of it.
Well, you know, I mean,
I thought that after the Zimbabweans dealt with Mugabe, they would come for Wenger.
Charlie, you know, there are some teams in League One and League Two who have fans as well, you know. So yes, you know, I mean, I'm a long-suffering Arsenal fan, but it's all good. One day.
Would you ever get back to music?
It's too
Record an album?
Oh, absolutely not.
A single?
No.
Jam with the boys when you go back to
I think now I'll be a newsman for the rest of my life, and I think maybe I will just end up mentoring young journalists. I'm actually doing that in Lagos right now. The BBC is opening up new services, Pidgin, Yoruba and Igbo. Yes. So I'm there in Lagos. I've been training for the last 2 months in Lagos, and I'll be there again. I'll be there till the end of March. So training young journalists and all that, mentoring them. You know, show them what Joseph Warungu showed me.
They say music never dies. Have you lost your musical mojo?
I haven't, but it's been such a long time, so I'm not particularly interested.
So if I give you a bass guitar right now, you can't twist the fret?
I wouldn't even want to try it. I mean, I'm sure I could play something, but you know, I wouldn't want to. You
wouldn't try?
No, not at all. I haven't played for a long time.
What's the relationship between you and your children, your wife? And
so I've got two lovely kids. I've got a 14-year-old son and a 13-year-old girl. She'll be 13 in about a week's time. You know, she's 13 going on 30. Right. Yeah, but they're great kids. They're great kids. They're in school. My wife is a writer at the moment. She's also an Oxford scholar. She's in Oxford at the moment. So, yeah.
You spoke about the African narrative, which usually is put out by the Western media. Let's talk about election coverage in Africa. What has been your impression about it? You've done many of those.
I think we're beginning to get it. I think initially, you know, it used to be a lot of one-sided stuff, but we're beginning to get it. But I still think that for now, we concentrate so much on the bigger parties that we don't listen to the smaller parties, even when they have something very important to say. And I think that's what we should start getting into now. And you know, it's getting better. You know, the industry, journalism as a whole in Africa is getting better. We still have a long way to go, but you know.
I mean, anybody who works at the BBC comes across as a perfect, a quintessential example for journalism practice. Is that the impression we get for those who watch from here, or that is an actuality?
I think for the most part it is an actuality. You know, we've got these things, this holy book, as we like to call it, you know, that, you know, contains the BBC values. So, you know, we all have to be conversant with everything that is inside there. And we have to follow those values and follow the rules and follow the guidelines. And, you know, I mean, it's very important to us that we are seen and believed and known to be an impartial news organization. You know, that's what we stand for. That's why we've been there for so long. So if it's a good thing that people see us like that, because that is actually how we are.
What puts you off?
Politicians, can I say that?
Yes, you can say that. Say it a bit more louder.
Politicians,
they put you off.
Yeah.
What about them put you off?
I don't know. I mean, because they've deceived Africans for so long. They've led us down the wrong path for so long. They've made so many promises that they haven't kept, and that's why I like to challenge them. That's why, my favorite interviews are, I like talking to the market woman because she has the real story to tell me. That guy pushing the wheelbarrow, but the politician, I can challenge you, and luckily for me, I work in an organization where I'm able to challenge them and tell them, and well, you said this the other time, I've interviewed presidents who've told me 2 different stories before, and then I pick up on them and I say, well, this is not what you told me the last time.
Right.
And then, they start stuttering or stammering, and then yes, actually I got you, so next time try and be truthful to your people. Yeah.
Finally, you're a twin. Not many people know that.
Yes, I am.
How have you been able to keep that away from the public, so to speak?
Well, a lot of people know. My twin brother lives in Abuja. He works in Nigeria. I mean, where he's my best friend.
Are you the eldest, or he is?
We've been arguing about that for.
Who came out first?
Well, he did.
He did.
But traditionally, I'm older.
How does that work?
Because traditionally, I asked him to go out and look at the world and see whether it's a good thing. Where we come from is the older one that sends the younger one out first.
Peter Okwoche, I'm grateful.
Thank you very
Your
much.
closing thoughts for an inspiration to that young journalist or somebody who was aspiring to get to your pedestal. What would you say to that person?
I'm saying, well, I hope, if anything, my story inspires you. Anybody can do it. I'm just an ordinary guy who's just passionate about what I do. So retain your passion, retain your integrity, and sky's the limit.
Thank you very much, sir.
You,
Great.
Cheers.
That's the BBC's Peter Okwoche, and he's hanging out here on New Day. You can only get it here on TV3. It doesn't happen anywhere. We'll be back after this break.